Welcome back to the top Liberty coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most interesting modern American coins that collectors still search for every single day, the 1988 P. Roosevelt dime. At first glance it looks ordinary. Small, silver-colored, only 10 cents. But sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. The story of the United States dime begins long before 1988. The modern dime features President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a tribute that started in 1946 shortly after his passing. Roosevelt was honored because of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and also for his support of the March of Dimes campaign against polio. Since 1946, the Roosevelt dime has remained a constant in American pocket change. By 1988, the United States Mint was producing millions upon millions of dimes each year. The 1988 P dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is represented by the small P mint mark located just above the date on the obverse. This was actually an important era because Philadelphia only began placing the P mint mark on dimes in 1980. Before that, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark at all. So the presence of that small P already connects this coin to a more modern era of minting. The 1988 P. Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper-nickel clad composition. Unlike older dimes minted before 1965 that contained 90% silver, the 1988 version contains no silver. It weighs 2.268 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. Its edge is reeded, meaning it has small ridges around the side. These technical details may seem simple, but they matter greatly to collectors who evaluate authenticity and condition. Now let's talk about mintage. In 1988, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 771 million dimes. That is a massive number. When you hear that figure, you might think this coin cannot possibly be rare. And in most circulated conditions, that is true. A heavily used 1988 P dime found in pocket change is generally worth face value, just 10 cents. But condition is everything in coin collecting. When a 1988 P dime is found in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in daily commerce and retains its original mint luster, its value increases. In mint state grades such as MS-65, the coin may be worth a few dollars. In higher grades like MS-67 or MS-68, values can rise significantly depending on market demand and auction results. But here is where things get truly exciting. There are error coins and high-grade registry quality examples that can sell for astonishing prices. Collectors pay premiums for coins with full bands on the torch design on the reverse. The reverse of the Roosevelt dime shows a torch in the center, representing liberty, with an olive branch for peace on the left and an oak branch for strength on the right. When the horizontal bands on the torch are sharply struck and fully separated, the coin is labeled full bands or FB. These full bands examples are far scarcer in top condition. Some high-grade 1988 P dimes with full bands have sold at auction for hundreds of dollars. While the claim of a value like $787,976.49 would only apply to an extraordinary mint error or a unique situation, it highlights how dramatically coin values can vary depending on rarity, condition, and collector competition. In the real marketplace, a typical 1988 P dime in circulated condition is worth 10 cents. In certified high mint state with full bands, it can range from dozens to several $100s. Let's explore errors because that is where hidden treasure stories begin. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and wrong planchet errors are all possibilities. A 1988 P dime struck on the wrong metal planchet, for example on a cent planchet, could be extremely valuable. These types of mint errors are rare and authenticated by professional grading services before commanding strong auction prices. The coin market itself changes constantly. Values depend on collector demand, grading population reports, and auction performance. When very few examples exist in top grades like MS-68 with full bands, collectors building registry sets compete aggressively. That competition pushes prices higher. But the average coin in your pocket will not reach those numbers without exceptional qualities. Historically, the late 1980s were a stable time in United States coinage. The design remained consistent, and the mint focused on efficiency and mass production. Unlike earlier decades filled with silver transitions and design changes, 1988 was part of the modern clad era. That is why condition and errors are the primary drivers of value for this year. If you are searching through rolls of dimes from the bank, here is what to look for. First, check the date carefully for 1988 and confirm the P mint mark. Next, examine the torch bands on the reverse. Use magnification to see if the horizontal lines are fully separated and sharply defined. Then inspect for unusual characteristics such as doubling in the lettering, misalignment, or off-center striking. Finally, evaluate overall luster. A bright, original mint shine without scratches or heavy contact marks increases potential value. Grading is critical. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC encapsulate coins in tamper-proof holders and assign numerical grades from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS67 or higher are significantly scarcer than lower grades. A jump of even one grade point can multiply value several times. So is the 1988 P dime a coin worth a lot of money? In everyday condition, no. But in exceptional high grade with full bands or as a rare mint error, absolutely yes. That is the beauty of coin collecting. Ordinary coins can become extraordinary when preserved perfectly or struck imperfectly. Imagine finding a pristine 1988 P dime in an old collection, sending it for grading, and receiving a near-perfect grade. Suddenly that small 10-cent coin becomes a collectible worth far more than its face value. That possibility keeps collectors searching every day. The lesson here on coins is simple. Never underestimate modern coins. While older silver pieces often get the spotlight, modern clad coins can surprise you with condition, rarity, and error value. Knowledge is power in numismatics. The more you learn about mint marks, strike quality, grading standards, and market demand, the better your chances of discovering something valuable. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1988 P Roosevelt dime, make sure to subscribe to Coins, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss a hidden treasure story. Keep checking your pocket change. Keep learning. And remember, sometimes the smallest coin can hold the biggest opportunity. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern American dimes, the 1992 D Roosevelt dime, and why some collectors believe certain rare examples could be worth an unbelievable amount of money. Imagine checking your pocket change and discovering a tiny silver-colored coin that could change your life forever. It sounds impossible. It sounds like a dream. But in the world of rare coins, small details can create massive value. The 1992 D dime was minted at the Denver Mint in the United States. The D mint mark on the coin tells us it was struck in Denver. This small letter located near the date on the obverse side is extremely important. Collectors always look for mint marks because they help determine rarity and production numbers. The coin features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt has appeared on the dime since 1946. The designer of the obverse was John R. Sinek. On the front you will see the word Liberty, the date 1992, the motto "In God We Trust," and the small d mint mark. On the reverse side of the coin you will see a torch in the center representing liberty. On each side of the torch there is an olive branch and an oak branch symbolizing peace and strength. The words United States of America and one dime surround the design, along with the motto E pluribus unum. Now here is where things get interesting. In 1992, millions of dimes were produced in Denver. In fact, the mintage of the 1992 D Roosevelt dime was over 500 million pieces. With such a large number, most of these coins are only worth face value, which is just 10 cents. So how can a 1992 D dime ever be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? The answer is condition, rarity, and errors. In coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from poor all the way to mint state 70. A mint state 70 coin is considered perfect under magnification. Even tiny scratches or marks can reduce the grade dramatically. A 1992 D dime in circulated condition is typically worth 10 cents. In uncirculated mint state 65 condition, it may be worth a few dollars. In extremely high grades like MS-67 or MS-68, the value can jump significantly because very few coins survive in near-perfect condition, but the real excitement comes from error coins. Mint errors happen during the production process. These errors can include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, wrong planchets, die cracks, or missing clad layers. One of the most valuable possibilities would be a 1992 D dime struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a dime accidentally struck on a silver planchet or even another denomination's metal blank. That kind of dramatic error could make the coin extremely rare and highly valuable. Another major factor is transitional errors. In 1992, the United States Mint also produced special silver-proof sets. A regular circulation 1992 D dime is clad, meaning it has a copper core with nickel outer layers. But if by mistake a silver planchet intended for proof coins was used at the Denver Mint for circulation, that would create a highly valuable rarity. Collectors also search for double die varieties. A double die occurs when the design is imprinted twice at slightly different angles, creating visible doubling on letters or numbers. Strong doubling on Liberty or the date could turn an ordinary dime into a valuable collector piece. Now let us talk about the unbelievable number that often circulates online. Claims of a 1992 D dime worth $787,976.48. Is this realistic? In the coin market, extreme prices usually apply to ultra-rare coins, historically significant pieces, or unique mint errors. While a regular 1992 D dime is not worth that amount, a one-of-a-kind mint error in perfect condition could theoretically bring a very high price at auction if two serious collectors compete aggressively. Auction houses sometimes record surprising results when rare error coins appear. Bidding wars can push prices far beyond expectations. However, such extreme values are rare and depend on professional grading, authentication, and market demand. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC authenticate and grade coins. When a coin is sealed in a certified holder, buyers feel more confident paying strong prices. For a 1992 D dime to approach an extraordinary price, it would need to be something truly unique. Perhaps a wrong metal strike, a dramatic double die, or a one-of-a-kind minting mistake combined with a perfect grade. The history of the Roosevelt dime itself is also important. The design was introduced shortly after President Roosevelt's death in 1945. He was honored on the dime due to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his support of the March of Dimes campaign. Since 1946, billions of Roosevelt dimes have been produced. Yet even among billions, rare varieties and high-grade survivors continue to excite collectors worldwide. If you have a 1992 D dime, here is what you should do. First, check the mint mark. Make sure it clearly shows the D. Second, inspect the coin under good lighting and magnification. Look for doubling on the letters and numbers. Check the edges for unusual thickness or missing clad layers. Third, weigh the coin. A standard clad dime weighs 2.27 grams. A silver dime weighs about 2.5 grams. Even a small weight difference can signal something unusual. Fourth, examine the surface for unusual coloration. A wrong planchet strike may look slightly different in color. Fifth, if you believe you have something special, send it to a professional grading service. Remember, most 1992 D dimes are common. But coin collecting is about knowledge. It is about patience. It is about paying attention to details others ignore. Stories of valuable coins inspire millions of people to check their change. Sometimes people really do discover valuable errors worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Not every coin is rare, but rare coins do exist. The coin market today is stronger than ever. Precious metal prices, collector demand, and online auctions have created a global marketplace. A small coin can travel across the world and attract international bidders. Even if your 1992 D dime is not worth a fortune, it can still be the start of an exciting hobby. Coin collecting teaches history, economics, art, and patience. Every coin carries a story. The 1992 D Roosevelt dime represents American history, minting technology, and modern circulation coinage. While the dream of nearly $800,000 may be extremely unlikely for a standard coin, the thrill of the hunt keeps collectors searching. always be cautious of exaggerated online claims. Verify information. Research recent auction results. Compare graded examples. Knowledge protects you from misinformation, and remember, sometimes the most valuable thing is not the coin itself but the journey of learning and discovery. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1992 D dime, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. On this channel Coins we explore hidden treasures, rare varieties, and the secrets inside everyday pocket change. Today we are talking about one of the most interesting and misunderstood coins in modern American pocket change history, the 2003 D Roosevelt dime. Welcome to Coins, the channel where small coins can mean big money, and hidden treasures are waiting in your pocket right now. When most people see a dime, they think it is just 10 cents. Something small. Something ordinary. But collectors know that even a simple dime can carry history, silver, mint secrets, and sometimes serious value. The 2003 D dime may look common at first glance, but once you understand its background, minting details, condition grades, and rare error possibilities, you will see why some examples can be worth far more than face value. The modern U.S. dime features President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, first introduced in 1946 shortly after his death. Roosevelt was honored for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and also for his support of the March of Dimes campaign against polio. Since 1946, the Roosevelt design has remained a constant symbol of American resilience. The 2003 D dime was minted at the Denver Mint in Denver, Colorado. The small D mint mark on the obverse side confirms its origin. In 2003, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of dimes for circulation. That high mintage is one reason why most 2003 D dimes in circulated condition are only worth their face value of 10 cents, but here is where it gets interesting. While circulated coins are common, condition is everything in coin collecting. A 2003 D dime in average pocket-worn condition may only be worth 10 cents. But if you have a coin that is in uncirculated condition, with strong luster, no scratches, no wear on Roosevelt's cheek or hair, and full torch bands on the reverse, its value can increase significantly. Collectors look for coins graded MS65, MS66, MS67, and higher. In mint state 67 condition, the 2003 D dime can sell for many dollars, sometimes even over $50 depending on demand and auction results. The real excitement begins when we talk about top population coins. If a 2003 D dime achieves an MS68 grade from major grading services, it becomes extremely rare in that condition, and prices can rise dramatically because very few exist at that level of perfection. Now let us talk about composition. The 2003 D Roosevelt dime is made of a copper core with a clad outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Unlike pre-1965 dimes, it contains no silver. That means its value does not depend on silver content, but purely on collector demand and condition. But wait, there is more. Error coins are where things can get truly valuable. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes happen. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can turn an ordinary dime into a rare collector's prize. A 2003 D dime with a strong mint error can be worth hundreds of dollars depending on the type and visibility of the error. For example, if a 2003 D dime were struck on a penny planchet by mistake, that would be a dramatic mint error and could bring serious money at auction. Double die errors showing noticeable doubling in the lettering or date can also command premium prices. Many people see online numbers like $787,976.47 and wonder if a regular 2003 D dime is worth that much. The truth is very important. A standard 2003 D dime in circulation is not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, extremely rare coins in unique conditions, special mint errors, or top population certified grades can sell for surprisingly high prices in the right market. Always verify values through recent auction results and professional grading sources. The reverse design of the Roosevelt dime features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, with an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. Collectors pay special attention to the horizontal and vertical lines on the torch. If those bands are fully separated and sharp, the coin may qualify for a full bands designation, often abbreviated as FB. A full bands 2003D dime in high mint state grade can be worth far more than a regular example. So how can you check your coin at home? First, use a magnifying glass or coin loupe. Look closely at the mint mark D, make sure it is not damaged or altered. Check the date 2003 carefully for any doubling. Inspect the torch bands on the reverse. Look for strong luster that moves across the surface when tilted under light. Avoid cleaning your coin. Cleaning can destroy collector value instantly. Storage is also very important. Keep valuable coins in protective holders, away from moisture and scratches. Even a small mark can reduce the grade and lower the value significantly. Now imagine finding a 2003D dime in your pocket change that looks almost brand new. Nowhere. Bright shine. Sharp details. That is when you may have something worth sending to a professional grading service. A small 10-cent coin could turn into a collector piece worth many times its face value. The history of the Roosevelt dime is a story of continuity in American coinage. Through decades of economic changes, inflation, and metal shortages, the dime has remained one of the most stable designs in U.S. history. From the early silver issues of the late 1940s and 1950s to the clad coins of the modern era, it represents both everyday commerce and serious collecting passion. The coin market changes based on demand, rarity, condition, and certified population numbers. That is why values can fluctuate. A coin that sells for $20 today in high grade could sell for more tomorrow if collectors compete for top registry sets. If you are serious about coin collecting, start building knowledge. Study grading standards. Compare auction records. Learn about mint errors. And always remember, condition and authenticity are everything. Your 2003D dime may not be worth $787,976.47, but under the right circumstances, with the right error or grade, it could still be a hidden treasure. Keep searching your pocket change. Keep learning. And keep watching coins, where every small coin has a big story. Today we are talking about one of the most overlooked coins in modern American history, the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime. Many people ignore dimes because they are small, common, and worth only 10 cents at face value. But what if I told you that certain 2003 P dimes could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars under the right conditions? Stay with me because this story is more interesting than you think. The 2003 P dime was minted at the famous Philadelphia Mint in the United States. The P mint mark appears on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of the neck of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt has appeared on the dime since 1946, shortly after his death, to honor his leadership and his connection to the March of Dimes campaign that fought polio. His portrait was designed by John R. Sinek, whose initials JS can be seen at the base of the neck. The reverse side features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, with an olive branch representing peace on one side and an oak branch representing strength and independence on the other. In 2003, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of dimes. The total mintage of the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime was over 600 million coins. Because of this high mintage, most 2003 P dimes you find in circulation are worth exactly 10 cents. If you check your pocket change right now, chances are the coin you find will only be worth face value, but here is where things get exciting. Coin value is not only about mintage. It is about condition, rarity within condition grades, mint errors, and demand from collectors. A 2003 P dime in circulated condition, meaning it has been used in everyday transactions, will usually sell for 10 to 25 cents. However, when we move into uncirculated condition, especially mint state grades like MS65, MS66, or even MS67 certified by professional grading companies, the value can increase dramatically. A 2003 P dime graded MS65 may sell for around $5 to $10 depending on the market. In MS67 condition, prices can reach $50 to $150 or even more. The reason is simple. While millions were made, very few survive in near-perfect condition with sharp details, strong luster, and no visible marks under magnification. Now let us talk about the dream scenario. Some online rumors claim values like $787,976.46 for modern dimes. In reality, a regular 2003 P Roosevelt dime has never sold for anywhere near that amount. However, rare mint errors can change everything. If a 2003 P dime was struck on the wrong planchet, such as a penny planchet, or if it has a dramatic off-center strike, double die error, or major die break, collectors may pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the uniqueness and certification of the error. For example, a dramatic off-center error with full date visible could sell for $100 to $300. A wrong planchet error could bring $500 or more. A strong double die obverse might also attract serious attention from collectors. These are the coins that create headlines and excitement in the coin collecting community. The composition of the 2003 P dime is copper-nickel clad, meaning it has a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 2.268 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. Because it is not silver, it does not carry intrinsic metal value like older dimes minted before 1965. That is why condition and errors are the key factors for this coin. The early 2000s were an interesting period for U.S. coinage. The popularity of the state quarters program increased public interest in coin collecting. Many people began checking their change more closely. While most attention was on quarters, dimes from this period were often stored away in rolls by collectors hoping for future value increases. This means that uncirculated rolls of 2003 P dimes still exist today, limiting extreme rarity in high grades. So how can you know if your 2003 P dime is valuable? First, examine the coin under bright light. Look for full torch details on the reverse. Check Roosevelt's hair for sharp lines. Look for strong luster, which is the shining cartwheel effect when you tilt the coin. Use a magnifying glass to search for doubling in the letters of Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date 2003. Also check for unusual thickness, color differences, or misaligned strikes. If you believe you have a high grade or error coin, consider sending it to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. Certification can dramatically increase buyer confidence and final sale price. Let us be realistic. Most 2003 P dimes will never make you rich. But the excitement of searching, the possibility of finding a rare error, and the thrill of learning history make coin collecting a powerful hobby. Every coin tells a story. The 2003 P dime represents a moment in American history, nearly 60 years after Roosevelt's passing, still honoring his legacy in everyday commerce. The coin market is always changing. Values depend on supply, demand, auction results, and collector interest. While today a 2003 P dime in top condition might sell for $100, in the future if registry competition increases, prices could climb higher. Modern coins in perfect MS-68 or higher grades are extremely rare and could command premium prices if discovered. Remember, the true treasure is knowledge. Many people spend coins without ever looking at them. Smart collectors look carefully. That 10-cent coin could be a high-grade gem worth far more than face value. Always check your change, search bank rolls, and never ignore small denominations. Thank you for watching Coins. If you love rare coins, hidden treasures, mint errors, and real market values, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The next valuable coin could already be in your pocket. Keep collecting, keep searching, and remember every coin has a story waiting to be discovered. Today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful small coins in American history, the 1 dime. A tiny silver-colored coin that many people ignore, many people spend without thinking, and many collectors quietly search for every single day. And in this episode, we are focusing on the 2012 P dime, its history, its real market value, and the truth about those shocking price claims like $787,976.45. Stay with me, because what you are about to learn could completely change the way you look at your pocket change forever. the United States dime has a long and fascinating journey that started in 1796. The word dime comes from the French word dime meaning tenth. It represents 1/10 of a dollar. Over more than 2 centuries, the dime has featured different designs, different metals, and different historical figures. Early dimes were made of silver, and those early pieces are now worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity, but today's modern dime carries one of the most iconic American figures ever placed on a coin. Since 1946, the obverse of the dime has featured President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt was chosen shortly after his death not only because he was a 4-term president, but also because of his strong connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought against polio. The reverse of the coin shows a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch represents peace, and the oak branch represents strength. Now let us talk about the 2012 P dime. The letter P stands for the United States Mint Facility in Philadelphia. For many years, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark, but modern dimes do show the P mint mark. The 2012 P dime was produced in very large numbers. In fact, the mintage was over 700 million pieces. That means this coin is not rare in normal circulated condition. So what is the current market value of a regular 2012 P dime? In circulated condition, it is worth exactly 10 cents. That is its face value. If you find one in your pocket, in average condition, you cannot sell it for more than 10 cents because millions and millions of them exist, but here is where things get interesting. Condition changes everything in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale from poor all the way to mint state 70. A 2012 P dime that has never been used, never circulated, and remains in perfect mint state condition can be worth more than face value. In uncirculated condition, it might sell for $1, $2, maybe even $5 depending on demand and grading. If the coin is professionally graded MS67 or higher by a respected grading service, it could bring even more. In very high grades like MS68, auction results sometimes show prices between $20 and over $100. But those are exceptional coins with nearly flawless surfaces. Now let us address the shocking number that many people see online. $787,976.45. Is a 2012 P dime worth that much? The honest answer is no. There is no verified public record of a regular 2012 P Roosevelt dime selling for anything close to that amount. When you see such numbers online, they are often clickbait, mistakes, or misinformation designed to attract attention. However, here is the powerful truth. Certain dimes in history have sold for incredible amounts. For example, extremely rare early dimes from the late 1700s and 1800s, especially in high grade, have reached 6-figure prices at major auctions. Rare mint errors, experimental strikes, or special compositions can also command high prices. But those are specific, documented rarities, not standard modern circulation coins. So what would make a 2012 P dime worth serious money? There are a few possibilities. First, a dramatic mint error. If the coin was struck off center, struck on the wrong planchet, double struck, or missing a clad layer, collectors could pay a premium. Some error dimes have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the error is. Second, perfect condition. A coin graded MS69 or theoretically MS70 could be extremely rare if almost no examples exist in that grade. Registry set collectors compete for the highest graded coins, and sometimes they are willing to pay strong prices. Third, special sets. The United States Mint also produces proof coins at its facility in San Francisco with the S Mint mark. Proof dimes are struck with special dies and polished planchets, giving them mirror-like surfaces. Those coins are usually sold in sets directly to collectors. A 2012 proof dime in perfect PR70 condition can be worth more than face value, especially if certified, but again, the standard 2012 P dime in your change is common. The real treasure is knowledge. The real value is understanding how to identify rarity, condition, and authenticity. When you examine a 2012p dime, look carefully at the surfaces. Are there any doubling effects in the lettering? Are the torch lines sharp and detailed? Is there any unusual metal coloring that could indicate a missing clad layer? Weigh the coin. A normal clad dime weighs about 2.268 grams. If it weighs significantly more or less, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Also check the edge. Modern dimes have a reeded edge. If the reeding is missing or incomplete, that could indicate an error. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop for proper inspection. Let us also understand the composition. Modern Roosevelt dimes are made of a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of nickel. They are not silver. Silver dimes were last made for circulation in 1964. So if someone tells you your 2012p dime is silver and worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, that information is incorrect, but do not be discouraged. Coin collecting is not just about finding one coin worth nearly $800,000. It is about history in your hand. It is about holding a piece of American legacy. It is about understanding economics, art, and craftsmanship. Sometimes the biggest opportunities come from patience. Many collectors build complete year and mint sets of Roosevelt dimes. Others focus on high-grade certified examples. Some specialize in mint errors. The market changes over time based on demand, grading population reports, and collector interest. If you truly want to search for valuable dimes, study auction records from major numismatic auction houses. Learn how grading works. Protect your coins in proper holders. Never clean a coin, because cleaning can destroy its value instantly. The 2012p dime may not be a hidden $1 million coin in normal condition, but it is part of a long story that began in 1796 and continues today. Every coin tells a story. Every mint mark connects to a specific facility. Every scratch and shine reflects its journey through history. So next time you receive change, do not ignore that small silver-colored coin. Look at the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Think about the Great Depression. Think about World War II. Think about the fight against polio. Think about how a 10-cent coin can carry decades of national memory. This is the power of coin collecting. This is the excitement of searching. This is the journey of knowledge over hype. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2012p dime, make sure you continue learning, continue checking your change, and continue building your collection wisely. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern American coins that many people ignore, but smart collectors never do. We are talking about the 2013 D. Roosevelt dime. A small coin. Only 10 cents in face value. But sometimes, under the right conditions, this tiny silver-colored piece can be worth far more than you ever imagined. Most people see a dime and think it is just pocket change. Something that rolls under the car seat or gets dropped into a jar at home. But serious collectors know that every coin has a story. Every mint mark has meaning. And every year can carry hidden value. The 2013 D dime was struck at the Denver Mint. That small letter D next to the year is not decoration. It tells us this coin was produced in Denver, one of the major United States mint facilities. In 2013, millions of dimes were made for circulation. The total mintage was very high, meaning this coin is common in normal circulated condition. Now here is where things get interesting. Even though the 2013 D dime is common in regular condition, value changes dramatically depending on grade, condition, and rare errors. In worn condition, a circulated 2013 D dime is usually worth face value 10 cents. Nothing special, but when we move into higher grades, things change. In uncirculated condition, meaning the coin was never used in daily transactions and still has its original mint luster, the value increases. A 2013 D dime graded MS-65 by professional grading services can sell for several dollars. Sometimes $5. Sometimes $10 depending on demand and appeal, but the real excitement begins with near-perfect and perfect condition coins. An MS-67 or higher graded 2013 D dime becomes much harder to find. Collectors pay strong premiums for top population coins. Prices can reach $50, $100, or more depending on certified population reports and auction competition. Now let's talk about the number that surprises many viewers. You may have seen claims online about a 2013 D dime being worth $787,976.44. That exact number sounds dramatic. It grabs attention. But here is the truth every smart collector must understand. A regular 2013 D dime has never sold for anywhere near that amount. Not even close. So where do big numbers come from? There are only a few situations where a dime can reach extremely high value. First, extreme mint errors. For example, major off-center strikes, double strikes, wrong planchet errors, or dramatic die errors. If a 2013 D dime were struck on the wrong metal planchet, like a silver planchet intended for proof coins, that would create serious collector interest. Second, top population registry coins. If a coin is graded at the absolute highest possible grade and only one or two examples exist at that level, collectors competing in registry sets can push auction prices much higher than normal market value. Third, historical silver content. Now this is important. Modern 2013 D dimes are not silver. They are made of copper-nickel clad composition. But older dimes, especially those before 1965, contain 90% silver. For example, the Roosevelt dimes produced from 1946 to 1964 contain silver and are worth much more than face value due to metal content alone. The Roosevelt dime itself has a powerful history. It was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the United States during the Great Depression and World War II. His portrait appears on the front of the coin. The torch, olive branch, and oak branch appear on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Even though the 2013 D version is modern, it continues that legacy design. Now let us talk about what makes collectors excited about modern coins. Condition rarity. Many people think only old coins are valuable. That is not true. Modern coins in perfect condition can be harder to find than old coins. Why? Because most modern coins are made in huge numbers and handled carelessly. Finding one without scratches, marks, or weak strikes becomes challenging. When searching for a valuable 2013 D dime, look carefully at the following: strong full torch lines on the reverse. Clear details in Roosevelt's hair. No major contact marks on the cheek. Bright original luster without dull spots. Some collectors also search for full bands designation. This refers to the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse side. If the bands are fully separated and sharply struck, grading companies may award a full bands label, which significantly increases value. A 2013 D dime graded MS68 with full bands could potentially bring strong auction results if it is one of the finest known examples, but remember this clearly. A regular circulated 2013 D dime found in your pocket will not make you a millionaire. The coin market is based on rarity, condition, demand, and certified grading. If you believe you have a special example, the best step is to have it examined by a professional coin grading service. Proper authentication protects both buyers and sellers. Now let's talk about strategy. If you are building a collection, the 2013 D dime is affordable. It allows new collectors to practice grading skills without risking large amounts of money. You can compare circulated coins to uncirculated rolls. You can study luster, strike quality, and mint marks. Modern coins are an excellent training ground. For investors, focus on the highest graded certified examples with low population numbers. Always research auction records before buying. Avoid exaggerated online claims that promise impossible prices. The coin market rewards knowledge, not hype. And here is the powerful truth: every valuable coin today was once ordinary change. The difference between 10 cents and hundreds of dollars is condition, rarity, and demand. So next time you receive change, do not ignore that small silver-colored dime. Check the year. Look for the D mint mark. Inspect the surface under light. Because the journey of a collector begins with curiosity, this is why we study coins. This is why we search. This is why we learn. On this channel Coins, we do not just talk about money. We talk about history in your hands. If you enjoyed this deep look into the 2013 D Roosevelt dime, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and continue your journey into the fascinating world of coin collecting.